Hello once again, Mr. Pete here. You may remember me as your former YouTube shop teacher, and the subject of this temporary video is just a follow-up on a very recent plea for help video that I made. It was a resounding success. The machine is up and running, and I thank all of you for your help. But before I show you the results here, because I do have some pictures, some still pictures of that Andy sent me, I want to tell you that later in the video I'm going to have another plea for help. It's optional. Matter of fact, I'm going to rant and whine about the Illinois Department of Revenue, who is holding my pension hostage right now. So you can't help me because they won't help me. So when I'm done talking about the lathe, stand by if you can take it for that little whining session. I may need to borrow some money from you people. I usually don't talk about analytics or how much money I made or didn't make from a video, but this is the video that I'm talking about. It's no longer online. You cannot watch it. However, if you look closely here at the analytics, you will see that it received 13,400 views. And the watch time, that means how many actual hours were spent viewing it, 766 hours, and it made $66.23. Now I got to pay income tax on that, you know, and state tax as well, which I'll be talking about later on. But you can see that this is a video that took me really only 15 minutes to make and 15 minutes to edit. It was very easy to do, and I made enough to take my wife out for an average dinner, excluding the tip. So you can imagine how little money I make with some of the videos that only receive 4,000 or 5,000 views. You know, it just isn't worth doing at all. And I'm going to make a video in the future on analytics if you would want to watch that, and I'll probably tell you more than you want to know, and certainly more than anyone else will tell you about the background, the hidden, the dark side of Google's YouTube. So there are graphs showing all of this as well, so you can see that it had a lot of attention here. And it was on 5 or 6 days, so at about this point where the graph flattens out is where I took it off of public viewing. And there's the watch time, which I just mentioned. It gave me 4 new subscribers. Oh, wow, how great. And again, there's the money that it made, and that dropped off right away when I took it off of public viewing, as I just said. A couple more things yet. You might find this interesting. Again, 766 hours, but if you look at the next graph here, the average viewing time on this 8.5-minute video was only about 3.5 minutes. So people watch just a little bit of it and say, oh, I hate this, and they turn it off. And I don't object to that because I do that to videos that I watched as well. A couple minutes are like, this isn't exactly what I thought it was going to be, and you click off to a better video. But there is the comments section, and I'm not going to go in there and count the comments, but there was probably about 50 or more, some of them excellent. I thank all of you that made a useful comment, and of course I pass these comments on to the gunsmith himself, and he did solve the problem. Well, I had asked people to give me your answers in the email, not the comments, but I guess I just mentioned that, but about half the people made a comment. I should have turned the comments off. I forgot to do that, but here are some of the emails. I'm not going to let you read them, but it just goes on and on and on. So there were some excellent answers here. Andy Current, of course, was the intermediary between me and Mr. Smith the gunsmith. And for those of you that do not know what I'm talking about, the whole original video, Plea for Help, was about one of these Taiwanese lathes that the gunsmith owned, and they made them under many different names. And it's really quite a good machine, but it's 35 or 40 years old and a gear worn out. This is his actual one under the Husky name. And inside of the apron, this is the feed rod right here with the worm, and then the worm gear made of brass was worn out and damaged and basically stripped. And there's another view of it. So the brass gear is what he needed. He could not get the gear from that company, or maybe they're out of business. People suggested Grizzly, all kinds of different answers. Several wonderful people even offered to make him one. But in the end, you won't believe this, and it was in the comments or in an email, someone suggested one on Amazon. So he bought it on Amazon for $15 or $18, and I've got some pictures of that. Okay, there's some pretty good pictures here that Andy took, and Andy helped him put it back together. You know, I got a lot of answers like, well, he's a machinist, just go ahead and make one. Well, it isn't that easy if you don't have the cutters, and he's in business to work on guns, not to make repair parts for machinery. I know I'm scolding you, but this is true throughout industry. Even in a machine shop that's capable of doing things, if they can buy the part cheaper than they can make it, that's what they will do. So again, there's the worm made of steel, and the feed rod goes through it. There's a key, and this is the brass worm wheel or worm gear. There's another view of the bad one and the good one, the new one, and he had to make some modifications, minor modifications, like drill a hole for the pin and maybe face it to length, or I forgot what it was, but there were just a few little things that he had to do. There's another shot. This is the half nut for threading. And on this machine, it is not the same. It is not used for feeding. It's used for threading only. Well, there's the half nut again. I guess you don't need to see that. And there's the final assembly with the feed rod back in. I suppose this is Mr. Smith's hand. And anyway, the job is done. Thank you ever so much to all of you that participated and helped. Okay, video is over, unless you want to listen to me whine about the Illinois Department of Revenue, who are Nazis every bit as much or more than the IRS. Okay, now for a little whining session. As you know, I'm a simple man. I'm a poor man. You might think I have a lot of money, but I do not. I'm on a teacher's pension, state of Illinois, plus what little I make from YouTube, as I just demonstrated to you. So, I've had my troubles with the IRS over the years. And I don't know why I've had so much trouble. But anyway, now I'm in trouble with the Illinois Department of Revenue, which is like a small-time IRS, only even more wicked and hard to deal with. But a couple months ago, they said I owe them $170 or something. You know, it was a minimal amount. And they said you didn't pay in enough estimated taxes. So they told me what I owed in interest and penalty. So I talked to my tax man, and he said, don't pay it, you don't owe it. And he looked through things, no, don't pay it. Well, a couple of weeks passed, and my wife said, you know, we won't be able to settle this, because it's not like you make a phone call and they say, oh, okay, I'll settle, we're very, very sorry. It'll never happen again. You'll never get an apology out of Nazis. So anyway, my wife went ahead and paid it with a personal check. Well, we thought, you know, they don't ever give you a letter or a correspondence that would say, all clear, you're good, no problem, thank you. They don't do that. So, but we thought everything was fine. All of a sudden, we get another nasty letter, and it says, you owe this amount. And then it said, this is not a bill. I didn't get that. Do not pay this amount. Well, and then in fine print, it mentioned my teacher's pension. Now, the pension is separate from the Department of Revenue, but they have hijacked they have blackmailed me, and they have coerced me. In other words, they stopped my pension. Today is October 3rd. I should have gotten a paper check from them. I still get a paper check. On October 1st, I don't know what, they're holding up my pension, the way I pay my bills, the way I buy my food, and I don't know what to do. Because I don't even believe there's a phone number on there, but you know, it's not simple. And if you do call and finally reach somebody, the next time you call, it'll be somebody else, and you got to start from scratch, and then sometimes it didn't get fixed. And I've been through that with the IRS as well. Well, I'm sorry to unload that on you, but I might have to borrow some money because I literally depend on this pension, as you all do. You know, you're used to a check. If you're retired, I mean, a pension check or a retirement check or something like that. And I don't have it. I didn't think they could do that. Would they be able to do that with a UAW pension? I doubt it, or somebody would be wearing concrete overshoes. All right, there's no solution to this, and I don't expect you to answer this. Matter of fact, I should turn the comments off. But thank you all for helping Andy and the gunsmith, and that problem is solved. Keep watching. I got a lot of videos that I'm working on, and I don't want them the departments of Moolah to find out about that, because they'll probably put a halt on that. Hey, I made a neat video, it's not released yet, on these handles, fluted handles. That's coming up, so watch for that. The material is Delrin, and I use that Vevor dividing head with a method called direct indexing, and you probably would like that. Temporary video, so long for now.